Let's take a look now at the user interface of Unity, and when you first start it up, it gives you a welcome screen with links to video tutorials, basics, and for example the forums. We don't need that right now. And as you can see, when you first start Unity, it opens up the island demo, and it's basically a full game where you can walk around. There's not a whole lot of action going on, but it is a world that you can play around in, and it allows you to see what you can do with Unity and how to modify things a little bit. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that Unity was built in Denmark, so it has a very European or minimalistic approach to its design of the user interface. You might be used to minimalistic designs from, for example, Apple software, and one thing I love about minimalism is that you're not bombarded with buttons and things that might confuse you. However, if you're new to a program, then a minimalistic approach can be somewhat confusing at times as the main features are hidden or you need to know how to get there. So let's review the user interface first before we do anything else. Unity is built up from what they call tabs. I like to call them different panels. You can open tabs and switch between tabs and even have those tabs open while the game is running. Let's start with the scene tab, for example. The scene is basically your editor, and it shows you everything that's going on in the world. You can click things in 3D and move them around, or you can paint, for example, terrains and that sort of thing. Now, if your computer is a little slower than a very fast one, then you might want to turn off the lights, and this will save you on memory so you don't have to wait for your computer to process things. However, if your computer is very fast and faster than mine, you can toggle this button and it shows you all kinds of camera effects. Now right now there's not a whole lot going on in this level, so I will toggle them off as it is by default. If you want to do some debugging on the colors inside your level, you can switch to, for example, only show alpha channels or overdraw and that sort of thing, but it's not used very often, so let's just switch back to red, green, and blue. Also, if you want to see the difference between textured and wireframe view, which is basically everything that's going on in 3D, you can do that by toggling this drop down here. Or if you want to see both at the same time, you can click texture and wireframe. For now, let's just go back to texture. Second, there's a game view. We can also drag this game view out and, for example, position it underneath the editor, and while you're playing the game you can see certain things here and there. I like them to be kind of separate, so let me drag this back. A game has certain types of output, and if you're familiar to, for example, video editing, you can toggle this button and see the aspect ratios that Unity can output in. For example, if you're making a game for a TV that is widescreen, you can toggle 16:9 and it will show you the size of that pixel aspect ratio. Or if you want to design something for a square TV, 4:3 would do it, or web and standalone games will do that as well. Let me just go back to free aspect, which means it fills up the whole pane and I could actually move things around here and there. Now, if you want your game to maximize while you're playing it, just toggle the maximize on play button, and as soon as you hit the play button to start playing your game, the game will maximize and take up the entire screen, as you can see right here. Also, you can say I want to see the gizmos in the game that I'm playing. Now, gizmos are, for example, your wireframe view of your models, positions of light, that sort of thing. But do remember and keep in mind that this is only a debugging tool. As soon as you save and export your game, gizmos are not viewable to other users. Also, if you want to keep your stats in mind, the statistics of your game, for example, how fast things are being rendered or how many draw calls you have on your system, you can toggle statistics on or off. Now, you can drag panes around at will as you want. If you are missing a pane or have closed one, you can go and click the little arrow and say add tab, and for example add another scene tab, game tab, or things like that. If you want to save the layout that you have, just toggle the layout button here and hit save layout. Then it will prompt you to type a name in, and as soon as you type that name in, you can switch back just by clicking the name from the layout drop down menu. Also, there's a couple of tools that I have not covered yet up top here, and they work in the scene view. We have a move tool, and a move tool allows us to move things around, like for example this bridge. Or I can rotate it using the rotate tool. Or I can scale things using the scale tool. Now, if I want to scale everything uniformly, I would just click in the middle of the scale tool. But if I only want to, for example, scale the length of the bridge, I would use only one of the handles, which is not recommended much for 3D models as it distorts them a little bit. Okay, there's a couple more panes that I have to explain for you, and we will do that in the next video. So let's move along.